You're tuned into DecayMag podcast, online source for horror, thriller and sci-fi entertainment news.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Artuz, founder and editor for DecayMag.com. That is DecayMag.com. We are DecayMag. We are not Decay Magazine. We are not the letters DK or the word DK. We cover everything horror via our podcast, written articles, reviews, interviews. And joining me for this episode are
Enid Artuz, content contributor for DecayMag, and don't forget to listen to our podcast on Google Music. And by the way, I'm back.
Yay! Stacy Cox, staff correspondent for DecayMag. We're on Stitcher. Be sure to rate and review, rating and reviews, and help us rank. Welcome back, Enid.
Thank you.
Yes, Enid was off for a couple of days, battling the flu, right? It was the flu, the cold?
Flu, cold, however, but I lost my voice, so unfortunately when you lose your voice, you cannot talk on podcasts, so I had to take some time off, but I'm back.
Yay! And in this week's episode, we're going to be featuring our featured topic, which is NextVR unveils paranormal evidence. Stay tuned for that. We also have exclusive interview with director Brent Green. We'll be talking about his new film release, The Veil. And also we have an exclusive interview segment with director, writer Peter Mckeiron. And he's going to be discussing his latest short film, The Quacky Slasher.
Quack, quack.
Oh, funny. funny. Oh my gosh. Anyway, stay tuned, and without further ado, here is episode 5, season 5.
Movies. An American Werewolf in London remake.
Is there an American Werewolf in London remake in the works? Max Landis, son of John Landis, is working on the screenplay as we speak. At San Diego's Comic-Con, Landis was asked about the project and his response: "I'm gonna write it and I think I'm gonna direct it. I like the script I wrote, I'm halfway through it right now. I hope it turns out great. I promise you nothing. My new gimmick as a public figure is nothing." Quote. Landis states he was approached by Robert Kirkman and David Alpert, Skybound Entertainment, about the project. What do you guys think about this?
Okay, so for those in the audience that are not are unfamiliar with American Werewolf in London, that film offers one of the best human to werewolf transformations without CGI. Everything was practical effects, and to this day it stands as one of the best examples of practical effects. Even the makeup in that film were phenomenal. I don't think they could pull this off with CGI. I highly doubt it. So if they're gonna use the type of graphics that they have used in Twilight and Hemlock Grove, the film is gonna just collapse. You've seen American Werewolf in London?
Is that the one with the guy from Back to the Future?
No, that's Teen Wolf. No, that is a offensive remark to the film, to this American Werewolf in London. How can you say such a thing?
There's so many werewolf movies, vampire movies. There's too many of them, so what do you want me to do?
There is only one American Werewolf in London, and then the sequel, American Werewolf in Paris, I think it was. Yeah, but I don't think that one did as good as the first one. Stacy, you seen American Werewolf in London? Come on, say yes.
Yes, I have.
All right, yes. So what did you think of that werewolf transformation?
It was awesome. And I watched it recently for the first time. I heard so many great things about it. And just, experiencing it for the first time, just like, wow, I see why this movie is so good. And that transformation was epic. Now all the werewolf movies I've seen, that has to be like my favorite all-time transformation.
It is the best all-time transformation. Because, come on, you can see that the guy is really in pain. The camera was close to his face. I mean, come on. I don't think anything else, even with Underworld, it does not match practical effects. American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, and think about most werewolf movies nowadays, the transformation is so quick. It's almost like magic.
Yeah.
Like you turn your head for a second and you literally turn into a werewolf. It just, there's no slow and painful agony transformation anymore.
Right.
So
yeah, because come to think of it, it's true. American Werewolf in London, the transformation, come on. If you want to put a real spin to it, that's the way to do it. Because remember, the human body is changing into this beast. His bones is going to be thicker, limbs is going to be longer. That does not make sense, especially in Twilight, right, Enid? Twilight. Come on.
Leave it alone.
Those half-naked boys transforming into big dogs. What the shit is that? What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Big giant dog. Not only that, let's talk about Hemlock Grove. The same shit. They change into big dogs. Come on. Give them a can of Alpo. That's it. No. But a remake. How many times have we been talking about remakes on this show?
Too many.
Oh.
Far too many.
Yeah, I lost count.
Yeah. I mean, here we go again.
Yeah, I can't believe they're gonna remake it, but it's John Landis' son, so I guess puts in a little glimmer of hope that maybe he'll follow in in his father's footsteps, maybe. But hey, we don't know. I take the more modern day cliches out here and screw it all up.
That's what I think is gonna happen. I know it's gonna happen.
Milla Jovovich to star in Hellboy, Rise of the Blood Queen.
As we all know, the Hellboy reboot is in development. And according to IMDb, a release is set for 2018. In DecayMag Season 3, Episode 8, we discussed Guillermo del Toro's not pursuing Hellboy 3. In DecayMag Episode 4, Season 4, Episode 6, we discussed the reboot and how Ron Perlman was not reprising the role of Hellboy. Actor David Harbour is on board to portray Hellboy. For those unaware, Harbour starred as Jim Hopper in Netflix Stranger Things. The writing team for this new Hellboy film are Andrew Crosby, Christopher Golden, and of course, Hellboy creator Mike Mignola is on board as part of the writing team. Neil Marshall is attached to direct. Now here's the update. Hellboy is actually titled Hellboy Rise of the Blood Queen, and director Neil Marshall secured the Blood Queen. She is none other than Milla Jovovich, and Jovovich is notable for her roles in the Resident Evil franchise. Millennium Films and Lionsgate are backing the film, and as I mentioned before, 2018 we will be seeing Hellboy, this new reboot to Hellboy. So, Stacy, I know you're a big Hellboy fan. What do you think about this reboot?
Well, I love the movie. I've only seen the first one. But I am excited for Milla Jovovich. Excited for her. She's awesome. That's really all I can say. I've seen the movie like once, years ago.
That's it? You haven't seen the Golden Army?
No, I haven't. I've only seen the first movie years ago. And I vaguely remember what happened.
They were showing the Golden Army on TV. I think it was Enid. Wasn't the Golden Army they were showing on TV, or was it part 1? I'm unsure. I know I saw.
I think part 2 already.
Part 2, right?
It's been so many years. It's already on TV.
Yeah, but it was on TV recently. So Enid, another reboot. Here we have Hellboy: Rise of the Blood Queen. Well, it's actually a different chapter, it appears, but Milla Jovovich is in it.
Well, kind of impressed that Milla is actually not in her husband's movies.
Right, which is Resident Evil.
Exactly. So she actually trying to get rid of that Resident Evil character.
Yeah. I mean, since Resident Evil is now dead in the ocean, dead in the water, yeah, she's gonna have to find something else to do. And in my opinion, Resident Evil Part 1 was it was good. It had action. It had a little bit of horror. But then all those movies afterwards became the Alice movie, the Alice franchise. It only focused on Alice. They did not focus on any of the characters for Resident Evil. So, yeah. And that was because of her husband putting her in the spotlight. This invincible warrior that cannot be killed with that bullcrap.
So is she gonna be Red wife?
I am not sure. I not follow the comics. And I don't know if it's based off the comics in the storyline. So yeah, all I know is she's portraying the Blood Queen. Interesting.
Well, my favorite thing. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, isn't it funny how she was fighting the Red Queen and now she's gonna be
And the Red Queen, right?
Yeah, now she's the Blood Queen. Funny. So Stacy she enjoys Milla Jovovich, the actress, and her roles.
I do. And honestly, I think let me double check, but I really only know her from Resident Evil, and I thought she was badass, you know. Pardon my French. But so and I haven't even seen all of those movies, but I think she would be great in Hellboy. Excited for it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. She's a good action actress. Our personal favorite for Milla in her role in
Chicken Good?
Chicken Good? No, that's not the name of the movie.
The Fifth Element. That's the name. Fifth Element.
The Fifth Element. Oh my gosh, that was an awesome film. Awesome.
But that's actually our favorite part, when she pops the little pill in the oven, and once the oven's finished, she takes out a piece of chicken and she's like, chicken good.
Not a piece of chicken. She took out a whole chicken.
A whole chicken.
Man, I wish they had that stuff now. Shoot. You could come home from work, put a pill in the microwave, and you have a whole meal right there and ready for you. That would be awesome. But let's see. As Enid says, let's wait and see how Hellboy, this new installment for Hellboy, without Ron Perlman. How can you have Hellboy without Ron Perlman?
I know, he's such a nice guy. We had the opportunity of meeting him And he is a nice, down-to-earth guy. So I guess that's one of the reasons why they didn't want to pick him.
Yeah, you never know in Hollywood how the business perspective. Sometimes this business is very cutthroat. And I mean, Ron Perlman is a cool dude. We met him, spoken with him, and he had the opportunity, to interact with his fans, which is a very important thing to do, especially when you're an actor. So yeah, that's a +1 in my book.
Cast announced for sci-fi film, Ad Astra.
We have some news on new Regency sci-fi movie Ad Astra. Actress Ruth Negga have joined the cast along with Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones. Negga role is being kept hush hush. Here's the synopsis per IMDb. An Army Corps engineer searches across the galaxy for his father who disappeared on a mission to find alien life 20 years ago. This movie has been directed by James Gray and is written by James Gray and Ethan Ross. This film is in pre-production, so stay tuned to DecayMag for more updates. What do you guys think? Brad Pitt doing another scary movie.
A science fiction movie. That's interesting. What's the synopsis again?
It says an Army Corps engineer searches across the galaxy for his father, who disappeared on a mission to find alien life 20 years ago.
Doesn't that sound a little bit like World War Z? That he worked for the government and he was doing missions to get back to his family? That sounds just like that.
But
yeah. But let's see how Brad Pitt does. Let's see how this film does, because I always very skeptical when you have big name actors in a sci-fi film or in a horror film. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. It's a gamble. So let's see. I enjoy the synopsis. It sounds very interesting. But yeah. What do you think about this, Stacy?
Didn't Brad Pitt? No, wait. Okay, I'm already getting him mixed up with someone else. Never mind about that, but it sounds good. I was just going to mention Pitch Black, but I'm like, wait, that's not Brad Pitt.
How?
No. Definitely not Brad Pitt.
Okay.
No, that's
okay. So
yeah,
I can't really say I've seen too many movies with Brad Pitt. Honestly, let me.
Well, his last one was his last genre film.
World War Z, right?
World War Z.
I haven't seen it.
And they're talking about a sequel.
What about the one with the army? Was that after World War Z or before?
What army?
The one that he was a general.
Oh, that's after.
So then that wasn't the last movie.
Yeah, he was in. Yeah, but he was good in that movie too. He was good in Fury.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, he was good. He was good.
But all the problem that he's having with Angelina Jolie, I guess, is kind of like messing up with his career.
Yeah. Well, he has done other movies after. He has done other movies after World War Z. Of course, they're not genre related. This Ad Astra is the only one that's genre related sci-fi thriller. All the others are like comedies and action films, dramas, stuff like that.
Terminator 6 in planning stages.
Terminator 6 is Arnold Schwarzenegger is directing, James Cameron and David Ellison of Skydance is producing. Shooting is slated to begin March 2018. What do you guys think about this? Not much information is given at this time.
Another Terminator? That's my question. Why do we need another Terminator?
Well, the Terminators are actually, Terminator 1 and 5.
So many Terminators. I wonder if this one, Arnold Schwarzenegger is definitely gonna be in it, or are they gonna CGI him again?
I'm not sure, but of course he's working with James Cameron. They together, they're writing this. James Cameron is writing this new installment. Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be reprising his role as a T800 Model 101. And we have reported that the Terminator franchise was going to be put to rest. Terminator Genesis did not do well in the box office. So, yeah, I'm assuming that James Cameron got a hold of the rights to make another Terminator film or to continue the franchise. But of course, why do we need another Terminator for?
I wonder if this one is gonna be based in the future, or are they gonna go back on the past?
I am uncertain. I am definitely uncertain. The way Terminator Genesis ended, of course, for those who have not seen it, too bad, this is a spoiler. The leader of the resistance, John Connor, he becomes possessed by these nano robots, and in turn he becomes an android himself. And I mean, there's so far that you could stretch the plot to keep things interesting. I did not know that a cyborg can age. The Terminator aged 20 years in that film. That does not make sense. And John Connor had a American accent, and then in this Genesis he has a British accent. How the hell did that happen?
They changed characters.
Yeah, but what?
One was American and the other one was English. So I guess the English one couldn't change the accent.
That was bad. That was terrible. The actor, he did his acting well, but oh come on, make an effort to change your accent into an American accent instead of British. That doesn't make sense. How did he get his British accent? Yeah.
Well, there has been so many people on the role of John Connor, so
yeah, there's been three as John Connor.
So far for you, I have done the best.
Batman, of course, Christian Bale, he did a good job portraying the role as John Connor.
Exactly.
Yeah, he did a very good role.
It'll be good if they bring him back again.
I don't think so. I think Christian Bale is one of those actors that is he pick and chooses what he wants to do.
So he'll gonna wash off.
No, I think Christian Bale should have been portraying Batman in this new DC franchise. That's my opinion.
But he don't want to be Batman anymore. He want to get out of that character. So.
Yep, exactly.
You can't blame him.
No. So, Stacy, what is your thoughts? Another Terminator. What do you think?
I don't know whether to be excited or to say blah. I watched the first three. Of course, the first two. The second one is my favorite of all, and then the first. But after 3, I didn't really watch Genesis and fell asleep.
You did one of my moves, huh?
Yeah, so I don't really. I'm like, if they kind of take it back to like the first 2 turns, I guess I'd say, well, that's worth a shot, you know. But yeah, just not how it's been going.
No. I mean, they They had a TV show. They had the Genesis was trying to make things fresh. I mean, Genesis wasn't bad. It wasn't bad and it wasn't good. It was an action movie. That's what they made it into. Trying to capture people's attention with more action. Before, it was all, the whole franchise is action, of course. But you also have to give people the plot. Part 1 gave people the plot, gave audiences the plot. The Terminator was scary, unbeatable robot. But now it's just like, it's like Call of Duty, but with cyborgs. And I make a comparison with Call of Duty because you pick up the game and you just run around shooting people. There's no plot. It's just bullets flying, and that's how this film was, right?
Yes, I loved it.
You loved it, especially when we played the video game on the giant screen.
Yes,
that was cool.
That was definitely cool.
Yeah, I mean, for the world, what was it? I think it was the world premiere. We went to the world premiere screening, and during that time they had the video game. It was for your phone, and everybody in the movie theater was playing it. That was pretty cool.
Rebecca Thomas directs thriller Malignant.
James Wan is producing another horror film. This is no surprise. Wan is expanding in the horror genre at an exponential rate. His latest production features Rebecca Thomas as role as director. Thomas directed episode 1 to Netflix Stranger Things. The film, titled Malignant, is based on the graphic novel titled Malignant Man, published by Boom Studios. The graphic novel is authored by James Wan himself, Michael Allen Nelson, and illustrated by Peter Kowalski. The following is the synopsis, and this is coming off of Amazon.com, where of course you could get a hold of this graphic novel. Alan Gates, a cancer patient with a terminal diagnosis, is resigned to his fate until he discovers that his tumor is actually a mysterious parasite. Granted a second lease on life and incredible otherworldly powers, Alan must fight against an evil army buried beneath society's skin, all the while unlocking the secrets of his forgotten past. Dark, twisted, and unique, Malignant Man is a sci-fi thriller that can't be missed. Malignant is a project that has been talked about over the past 2 years. In 2015, Deadline reported that writer Zach Olenwisk was hired to pen Malignant for Fox Studios. Of course, this, in my opinion, is an original concept. You have an original character with an original storyline, authored by James Wan himself, so you know that this storyline is going to be weird, it's going to be fresh, innovative. So I'm looking forward to, I have not read the graphic novel, so I will after this podcast, not right after it, but of course in the weeks after this podcast, I'll give this comic book, this graphic novel a read, just because of this plot. I enjoy this plot. What do you think about this, Enid?
I don't know. Sounds familiar. Like there has been another movie out there like that.
Well, this is a superhero storyline. It's going to be generic. It sounds like Spider-Man, it sounds like Captain America, it sounds like every other superhero that somehow they get infected and they become a superhero. So it's generic.
I wonder where he got the worm from.
Well, this is cancer. The protagonist is a cancer patient.
Yeah, but he said it's a mysterious parasite that he thinks is a mysterious parasite. So where the hell did he got the mysterious parasite from?
Probably an STD.
I wonder who he got it from. The malignant woman.
Feel the burn.
Yeah, he did feel the burn. He felt the burn.
Oh, he probably has an outbreak of herpes.
Oh, but Stacy says burn, and that is the feeling you do. You know, he felt the burn. See, the moral of this segment: wear protection.
That's right. Always be safe.
Oh wow, wow! That was some comedy relief right there.
Definitely. We made Stacy laugh.
Wow, the levels on this on her microphone just spiked. She had a big laughter right now.
Oh yeah.
Stacy, what do you think about this storyline?
It sounds good. I feel like what Enid is saying, it also sounds familiar, but it sounds good to me, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, you cannot get a generic. This storyline is so generic. You can't get more generic than this. But of course, it feels original because, at least in my opinion, he is not doing another spin-off from The Conjuring or something like that. He's borrowing off of his graphic novel, something different. That's why I say I can't wait to read the graphic novel, see what it's about, or watch the film too, because I'm tired of this Conjuring bull crap already. It's getting tired already.
He's not serious anymore. You just blew it with the STD. I won't see it like that ever again.
But of course, I don't think the story would be popular if it's called the STD Man. Stacy's thinking about that. She's like, no, that doesn't work. Well, Enid is asking where he got this mysterious parasite, and sometimes that happens. One night stands, too many one night stands. You say, okay, who was that mysterious woman? Yeah.
Well, hey, look at some of the films we've been reviewing. Remember that? Remember she do have sex with the ghost guy, and then she started getting some kind of parasite or something.
Exactly.
You remember that movie, Ladies?
Yeah. Come on now.
She just had sex with a guy who's not living, not dead. I don't know what he is. He's got some kind of ghost, and then now she's getting sick. I'm like, oh, alright.
Yeah, there have been a lot of body horror movies about that. So, yeah. I think you need your curiosity. We pretty much
You killed the cat.
No, we made Malignant Man into a comedy.
That's what I say. We're not gonna see it like the same way ever again.
No.
But
if you Google it, and if you look at the character, and you see that he has something sticking out of his arm, it looks like the lead character, the protagonist from the video game Prototype. Lead Prototype, he has something coming out of his arm, and he was some type of government experiment so he could shift his body into weapons. That's what when I saw that, and I saw that thing coming out of his arm, I said, hey, he looks like the character from Prototype. So anybody who's familiar with that video game, they could, or if not, just Google it, and you see Google Prototype and Google Malignant Man, and you see they look the same.
cast announced for sci-fi film The Maze.
Known for her famous role in True Blood, Deborah Ann Wool will star in the thriller movie The Maze with co-stars Logan Miller and Taylor Russell. This movie is directed by Adam Robitel, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, the project is described as in the vein of the 1997 David Fincher film The Game, an elevated psychological thriller about 6 strangers who find themselves in circumstances beyond their control and must use their wits to survive. This is written by Maria Melinek and Bragi F. Shant. This film will be releasing in 2018. Like always, stay tuned to your favorite podcast at DecayMag.com for more information. Opinions?
That actress, she's a very attractive actress. Deborah Ann Wool. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I was watching True Blood.
No, that was one of the reasons why you used to try to watch True Blood, because you never kept for it.
No.
With it. All about it.
Exactly.
So it was only when she used to have her little sex scenes that you love.
Well, that's, you see, you make me sound perverted. I'm not out of sex scenes that I love. No.
No, it's because you got to see her
naked.
Exactly.
See, now
it's not that you prepared it, it's that you got to see her in other ways.
Yes, you see, you're still making me sound perverse. But Deborah Ann Wool is a very attractive actress, and she's also stars in Daredevil, Netflix Daredevil. She's the secretary, remember? You pointed it out when you saw her on Daredevil. Like,
yep.
Oh, she was in True Blood. And
yep,
yeah.
I was the one who put you on. You didn't even recognize her.
Well, because in True Blood, she had different colored hair.
She had blonde hair in True Blood.
Really?
Yeah, same color, no different. Same person. She still looks the same.
See, my eyes will focus on her.
Exactly. You see, and then you don't want people thinking you saying that you say if your eyes were fixed
on her
something.
My eyes were fixed on her acting ability. See how you jump to conclusions.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, you see, maybe forget him.
Look at that, he's speechless.
Stacy, what do you think about this upcoming film, The Maze? It sounds interesting.
Yes. Wait and see.
You used one of my words right away.
She had nothing to say.
Not
Like,
even over the. Still not over the previous stuff.
To get over.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get over that one.
wow.
Sounds good.
She's trying to forget the STD man. That is the highlight of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let me tell you, James Wan be listening to this podcast. You gotta say, you just messed up the seriousness of Malignant Man. Oh man.
Blame it on DecayMag. It's okay. We could take the credit for it. The credit is pretty good for it.
Exactly.
It's awesome having the credit for it, because like that, people get to view us more, listen to us more, and know that here at DecayMag, we like to be honest, and we like to, sometimes joke around.
Yes. And we know that Stacy enjoyed this segment. Oh wow. Funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is this movie related to? The Maze? You had mentioned
The Game.
The Game.
1997, David Fincher. The Game.
The Game.
Are you talking about the game with what's his name?
Michael Douglas.
Yeah, Michael Douglas, that movie?
Well, if you go into IMDb, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different
It says
movies.
the 1997 version.
Yeah, so it's with Michael Douglas.
I'm trying to.
So
make
that's
a
the
point.
key word right there. So if you go to IMDb, you're gonna see it says the game 1997, and then David. There you go. See, you found
I'm
it.
trying to make a point that many films have the same title.
I love that movie. I mean, really game. Ben Affleck played.
Ben Affleck was in the game?
What's this Ben
No.
Affleck right there? Let's see.
No. Wrong. He is not in the game. Okay, we gotta.
Are you talking about Reindeer Games? I think he was in Reindeer Games. I think Ben Affleck was in Reindeer Games.
Yeah, no, we're trying to find the game here on IMDb. Okay.
Yeah, 1997. It's the one with Michael Douglas, director David Fincher. And that is an awesome movie.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one. But my point exactly, there's so many movies called The Game.
Yeah, I know.
See, there's a romantic comedy called The Game. Romantic comedy. So, reading this synopsis for The Game. And The Maze. The Game. You know, when I first read this article for The Maze, you know the first thing that came to my head? Maze Runner.
Me too.
I'm like, Maze? Maze Runner? They're making another movie about people in a maze? Then they had the cube? That's what I thought.
The cube, the maze,
I
the
like Big
hum, the bone.
Yeah.
What was that, Stacy?
A Cube as well. That was a good movie.
Yeah, the cube. Well,
Great concept.
yes, it was. But of course, let's see what the maze is all about. If it's, they had a similar movie like this not too long ago, and it was focused on the young teen demographic. Had to do with social networking, that you had to participate in a game, and you had to do stupid shit and get the most votes on social media, and then you go to the next level. And it could be something from simple like walk down the street naked to killing somebody. You know, they've made films like this before. It's no surprise, but I'm looking forward to this one, of course, because it has Deborah Ann Wool in the role. You have something? You okay there, Enid? You okay? Okay. Just wondering.
Featured topic, NextVR Paranormal Evidence.
We've covered many topics in horror, and recently we've covered VR content and the platform itself. In DecayMag Season 4, Episode 12, content contributor Ali Vela and I discussed our coverage on the Art of VR, a 2-day event held at Sotheby's here in New York City. Here we reviewed horror, fantasy, and genre hybrids aimed at VR devices. In our featured topic, I'm presenting the next content for VR, paranormal evidence. This bridges the gap between VR and real paranormal investigation. As we all know, ghost hunting is a popular subject and one that DecayMag has covered. In DecayMag Season 4, Episode 13, we interviewed Paranormal Den. In DecayMag Season 4, Episode 6, we interviewed Christopher St. Booth. Mr. Booth is a paranormal investigator and a filmmaker. Paranormal Evidence will release on the Samsung Gear VR headsets and Google Daydream View. For the smartphone, audiences can download the NextVR app, which is free, from the Oculus Store for Gear VR or the Google Play Store for Daydream users. David Cole, NextVR CEO, stated the following: We are creating original content for VR fans that significantly extends the entertainment portfolio at NextVR, unquote. Quote, paranormal evidence is at once an adventure through dark and creepy spaces and a thought-provoking exploration of the paranormal, unquote. So the following, what I'm about to relay, is an excerpt from the official press release. A team of investigators led by Jack Kaswitz, who has years of investigative journalism and a linguistic experience, selected Penhurst Asylum for the premiere of Paranormal Evidence with one goal: to capture evidence of what many have claimed is lurking in the dark. Known as one of the most haunted locations in North America, Penhurst opened in 1908 to care for children with severe mental and physical disabilities. In the decades to follow, the isolated facility also housed society's outcasts and criminals, became dangerously overcrowded, underfunded, and understaffed. After nearly a century of controversy and accusations of abuse and neglect, the institution was finally closed. Unexplained occurrences have been reported for years, including strange voices slamming doors, shadowy figures, and visitors grabbed by unseen hands. Here's another quote from David Cole, NextVR CEO. Quote, when you put on the VR headset, you enter Penhurst Asylum with our team during the witching hour. You become part of the investigation. It's an experience perfectly suited for VR. Unquote. The Paranormal Evidence trailer will be available in the NextVR app on July 28th, and fans can experience the full episode on August 1st. Visit DecayMag and access the article accompanying this podcast for the standard video trailer to Paranormal Evidence. Now, I said a mouthful there. I read an excerpt from the press release, gave a few quotes from David Cole, NextVR CEO, but here is our commentary. Paranormal investigation is a topic that is much debated because it's a controversy. You have those in the scientific community saying that there's no scientific evidence of ghostly apparitions. Then you have those who are in the trenches who are investigating these strange occurrences and saying, yes, there is something out there. So Enid, what is your opinion? VR content and paranormal investigation.
So why are they gonna put the glasses so they could see?
Right. Picture a paranormal investigation. You're with the team, but in full 3D mode around the visor.
So the person is gonna stay sitting, or are they gonna do the walkthrough?
Well, for VR content, you could be standing, you could be sitting, but the video, if you check out the video, is like you're walking down the hall. So it's like you're actually there.
So it's probably somebody has the camera,
right?
But the person is looking through the VR.
Exactly. It's like a first-person view, like in a found footage film, like that. Yeah.
Well, if they get to see something, they're gonna be scared shit. 'Cause it's gonna be right in their eyes.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I just hope they don't jump out their chair.
Well, if they capture EVPs, which is electronic voice phenomena, VR devices has extensions, headphones into your ear, so you fully immersed into the experience. Your eyes is covered, your ears, you have these headphones in your ears, so you don't hear nothing in the outside world. You're in VR, so this is scary. This is. I would get VR a device just to experience this. This seems very interesting. I enjoyed revolutionary ideas. Stacy, what do you think about this? Have you absorbed all this information? There was a lot of information here.
Yeah, there was. I want to invest in VR so bad. It's expensive. I plan to now bring in, paranormal to VR. I think would be it'd be a great experience. When I tried it in Comic-Con that was here in Cleveland, Ohio, it was more of a it was on the roller coaster, so I didn't get to see firsthand how it would be in a paranormal setting.
Right. And let me tell you, VR is in its infancy right now. This is, I know a lot of people in the audience do remember when the flat screen TVs first came out. They were expensive. They were tremendously expensive. The screens were a little bit bulky. Now you could get a flat screen HD or 4K for a good price. And you go to a store, sometimes you get buy one, get one free. That's the same thing. That's the same thing that's what's going to happen with VR. It's a baby now. It's in its infancy. And once the technology becomes available, the technology gets smaller. It fits better over your eyes. Right now, it's like you're wearing a brick over your face.
Soon you're not gonna need TV. Soon you're gonna just put the VR and just watch everything through there.
Exactly.
Which probably people will become blind because that's such a close for the TV. Too close to your eyes. You're not supposed to watch TV so close.
No, but they have. Well, now we're getting to a different topic here. I know they have parameters to make sure that your eyes is well protected with the whatever that's being emitted from the screen. But with paranormal investigation and VR, that's innovative. I enjoy those type of ideas, because when I attended the Art of VR at Sotheby's, I saw Alien in Utero. There was an animated film for kids, and there was also a flying dragon. So, there's the platform is open to so much stuff for VR. And just like Enid said, it's going to change the way we see television content. And it's also going to change video games content. Now, of course, let's make it clear, VR is not for video games 100%. You could do so many different things. So, closing remarks?
VR is fun.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Stacy. Wow. I mean, we had this whole elaborate presentation of paranormal evidence. VR is fun.
So the moral of the story, guys.
You are hilarious.
And just feel sorry for the person who gets, the person who gets to see whatever they get to see in person, right in their eyes. I just hope they have Pampers.
Stacy, closing remarks on this.
VR is fun.
Oh, you guys are funny. You guys are so hilarious. Wow. You're funny. My closing remarks is with paranormal investigation going into the entertainment industry, because there's a lot of shows on TV with paranormal investigation, ghost hunting. I hope that it's not like Ghost Hunters, that they fabricate the illusion of being a place being haunted. I hope that it's actual things that is actually happening, and this gets presented in for scientific study, as opposed you have the producers hiding somewhere, slamming a door, just for the scares and to sell your content. That's my final opinion.
Exclusive interview. Director, Brent Ryan Green the Veil.
My son, You were born into a world of darkness. We must fight to stay alive. We must never stop fighting. You will be a great warrior, my son.
When I was young, I fought to survive. With time, everything changed.
Earlier this week, I had the pleasure to interview director Brent Ryan Green. Mr. Green, makes his feature film debut with The Veil, an action fantasy film that released on the 11th of August 2017. The Veil is written by Jeff Goldberg. The synopsis for The Veil reads as follows. Set in a war-torn land where tribal factions live in fear of annihilation, the film tells a story of a deadly warrior leading a destructive war campaign. When he is betrayed by his own and left for dead, he is healed by a mysterious princess and taken in by a hidden tribe that believes he was chosen to wage a final battle. As I had mentioned before, The Veil released on August 11th, and in my opinion, check out my review for The Veil, which is on DecayMag.com, DecayMag.com. And in my opinion, The Veil has some stunning cinematography. The landscape, the backdrop was phenomenal. And listen to the interview with Mr. Brent Ryan Green, where he reveals the shooting location for The Veil. And my initial thought was that The Veil had this elaborate foreign land, set in the UK or in Ireland somewhere. It was shot in our own backyard, and he reveals the backdrop for this film. So, Stacy, Enid, any comments on the trailer? If you've seen the trailer, what did you think about the sequences for this film?
Well, actually, one of the actors from the movie I know pretty well. His name is William Levy, and he is an actor for Spanish telenovelas.
Spanish telenovelas. I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, right. I did tell you about it when you was watching the movie.
Yeah. And you know what? I enjoy when a Latino is in the lead role for the film and he portrays the lead role as the warrior. So Stacy, what is your opinion on The Veil? Have you seen the trailer?
I have not seen the trailer, but the picture sounds good. Yeah, we'll have to see the movie.
And Enid, of course, she's seen pieces of the film while I was conducting my review for the film, and immediately recognized the lead role, the warrior, is portrayed by William Levy. And William Levy, he's really moving up in the American film industry. He was in Resident Evil as well.
Ooh, I haven't seen Resident Evil. I want to see his fight scenes in it.
Resident Evil, the final chapter.
Yeah, the last one.
Yeah. Very interesting. What character did he play? Christian.
Yeah, he was Christian.
That's interesting. Is there a Christian? I don't remember there being a Christian in the Resident Evil storyline. Anyway, before we divert into a different topic, without further ado, here is my interview with director Brent Ryan Green, where he'll be discussing his feature film debut, The Veil.
My name is Ken Artuz, founder and editor for DecayMag.com. Joining me this afternoon is director, producer, and founder of Toy Gun Films, Mr. Brent Ryan Green. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Great. And this is an icebreaker question. Where was the shooting location for The Veil?
The Veil was shot on location in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma is my home state, where I'm from. I live there half the time, even now, and so we shot there. When I was preparing to do the film, I'd actually been shooting kind of all over the world in different locations and never really shot in Oklahoma, and so they have a great little incentive rebate program and an awesome film office. So we developed The Veil specifically to be shot in Oklahoma based on some locations, actually. So
Amazing. You see, when I saw the film last night, I was thinking some foreign area, Ireland or Great Britain, Oklahoma
yeah,
City.
no, it definitely doesn't. We wanted to do something in Oklahoma because it's kind of our backyard. We had friends and people that can help out, and doing your first feature, you need all the help you can get. But I didn't want to do something that looked typical. I mean, Oklahoma is flat and has a lot of red dirt and kind of tornadoes, and that's what people think of. But I wanted to show like a different side. So even I rediscovered the state because I was just looking around for kind of cool locations and looking at some state parks, and I came across. I knew of the Turner Falls, the waterfall kind of location, so I had that in the back of my mind. And then I discovered so many more, even more than I could put in the movie because we couldn't, travel around the whole state with this many people. But hopefully for people in Oklahoma who are working on the crew, even like myself, we'd show up to these locations like, wow, I didn't know this is here, like these Red Rock Canyons. It's a state park, and it's really beautiful. So yeah, hopefully even people from Oklahoma may not even realize it was shot in Oklahoma, but we did our best to make Oklahoma look good, and I hopefully we succeeded.
Yes, definitely. One of the striking features for The Veil, in my opinion, were the scenery, and I was curious to find out where this was filmed at.
Yeah, no, Oklahoma. Yeah, so I mean the look and style. We did a little, like very very little, like kind of set extensions and put a couple little hills in the background. But these just really cool kind of pockets of Oklahoma that had these awesome locations: Turner Falls, which is a state park, and Red Rock Canyon, and then just and it turned out really well.
Nice. And as I mentioned, The Veil offers some stunning shots. So please share some insight on one or two particular scenes that you feel as a director stands out visually.
I mean, visually, I mean, I worked with my DP Tom Marvel. We had done some shorts together, and there's a couple different scenes. Hopefully the landscape kind of, the idea was that it would kind of reflect the emotion. So, I mean, for most people who probably haven't seen the film yet, there's, a new area where Warrior, our main character, comes into that kind of defines a new way of living, and then at the same time, hopefully visually showing that with a change of scenery where, the film opens up on this desert, desolate looking battle scene, which kind of reflects where he's at emotionally, and then coming into this kind of new way of living with this, represented by waterfalls and greenery and this kind of beautiful tribe and where they're living, so hopefully it's not just pretty or desolate or dark for that sake, but also, the intention was to help drive the story with the location and scenery as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I did get that impression, especially when he was near the water, which demonstrates a resurrection type of aesthetic to the character. That's what the scene was projecting.
Absolutely.
And how did you become involved on directing The Veil?
Well, I mean, the genesis is a pretty long story. I mean, I went and worked on my first movie when I was in college, had no interest in the movie business, no interest in making movies. Just being from Oklahoma, it was never really something I thought of. But when I had this opportunity to work on a movie, I went not because I wanted to be in the movie business, but because I thought it'd be, a kind of a interesting, fun vacation job, and then I caught the film bug. So working on that film, I from that point, I always wanted to do, like most people, a narrative feature. But that's not something you can just go out by yourself and do. It takes tons of people and money and time and a great story. So it's kind of a process of working towards that. So I worked for 5 years in the industry, just learning everything I needed to know, which is kind of like my film school. I started Toy Gun Films with my producing partner Jeff Goldberg, and then we started doing these kind of bigger budget narrative shorts. And so we did 4 of those over 4 years. So that kind of got us, the technical relationship, financial skills we needed to do a feature. And during that process, I'd been looking for, because I'm not a writer, I'm a director, producer, so I'd been looking for a script, that worked for me, that I thought, was a reflection of kind of what I wanted to do. And we just couldn't find anything that fit. Either the budget was too big, maybe it was a film that would need $20 million. Well, that's not going to be my first feature. So
Right.
a couple of years into starting Toy Gun, after a couple of years of looking for a script and meeting with agencies and seeing, we just couldn't find anything that was good or, and that fit with what we wanted to do. So we started developing our own thing. And that's kind of what I talked about at the beginning with Oklahoma, is we started looking, okay, what do we have to our advantage, that we can use, because we're going to need everything we can get. So it's like, okay, well, Oklahoma has a great 37% cashback rebate program. Okay, well, there's essentially, 25% of the budget is taken care of right there. And then, so, okay, if we're going to shoot in Oklahoma, well, what kind of stories would fit Oklahoma? So then that's where we went out and found these locations and developed the script, around those locations. So, that's kind of the genesis of it, and I think you just have to do something, especially for a first-time feature director like myself or anyone else trying to get it off the ground. You got to do something where, it's so hard to do. You need some things going your way, so it's kind of almost the same as write what you know. It's shoot something that's obtainable. It's kind of like the same motto, but for producing, go somewhere where, you can get some free locations and you can get some help from people, and you can get, you have people that can pitch in and, and help you, try and get it off the ground. So that was kind of the genesis, and so it's kind of in a roundabout way, it was a 10-year process, but, like probably 3 years intense, thinking about it. Hey, what's our feature going to be? Okay. We tried a bunch of things in modern day story. We went, we wanted some action, so we just developed it that way.
Wow, that's fascinating. It's very interesting to see how, from an indie perspective, you utilize all the resources you have available to get this project off the ground. And that's one of the most complicated things, especially in this industry.
Yeah, no, even getting it off the ground. This was a really ambitious story and could have used a lot more budget, and we probably bit off even more than we can chew. But yeah, Oklahoma was great. The people here were great. The film office was so supportive, helping find locations and getting us permits, and the locations they got us for. We kind of shot like after the summer season, so these locations were temporarily closed to the public anyway. So they helped us get those for super cheap. So if it wasn't for all those things, there's no way we could have pulled off what we did on the budget we had.
Right. And the set design was phenomenal in emulating the fantasy area. So can you please share some insight on the crew that really put all these things, all these sets together?
Yeah, no, that was our production designer, Tyler Jensen. I just worked with him on a short previously, and he's really able to do a lot with a little, because his budget was just, again, it was probably a mistake to even try to do this film with the budget we had, but sometimes being naive, you just go for it. So, he was really able to pull a lot of stuff off. He's from LA, so we brought him in, and then his whole crew was local. So it was, again, just finding people who had been in Oklahoma for 20, 30 years, making movies that and knew where they could go find like these cool tree stumps or builders to add on to kind of the sets we had. So we had to utilize some like existing infrastructure. So we did for the kind of in scene, without giving too much stuff away, there's a castle-like structure. Well, that was already built, and we found that, and then we added on to it. So we added some of the wood features and and had to be strategic because obviously there's no money to build even really sets. So we had an interior day where we built a couple little sets, but not like these exterior sets that the script really called for. So it was just a lot of people being very strategic and smart and creative, and and utilizing the little bit we did have, and the crew in Oklahoma that just really put a lot into making this. And I think they saw like what we wanted to do and how we were going to show Oklahoma, and Oklahoma was going to sometimes the movies portray Oklahoma maybe in a neutral or negative way, but this was going to show Oklahoma being beautiful, and so everyone gave 110% to it, and without it wouldn't be half of what it was.
Oh, wow. That my mind is blown right now because I thought that castle-like structure was actually a build for the set. Wow.
Yeah,
Impressive.
yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. But yeah, no, it was like, so that structure you saw, like basically an eccentric doctor had built that in like in the 20s or 30s or something, and so they just it got eaten up into a state park, and they just kept the structure there because it's kind of cool. So we came in and built onto it. So there, we extended. It doesn't look like, if you went back and looked at it, you'd be like, oh, this is it. It's not as impressive as the camera can make it look. But yeah, so we went in and had our builders go out there and add on to it. Some of the features that the park actually liked so much because it looks so much better, they kept. So there's like some wood features and stuff. But but it's little things like that where a build like that would be 50, 100, easily could be $200,000 build. Exactly. That's just, literally cost us, a couple, just some wood, we just add on to it, and then you get a lot of production value out of that. So you have to do little things like that at every turn on an indie production like this to even kind of have a chance.
Wow. Very interesting, very interesting. And there were some scenes that seemed to have a limited in space. Was this the case, or if not, what were some limitations on filming on this location?
Yeah, the hardest part was just time. Like we did all this in 23 days. Like I said, the script was very ambitious. There's a lot of action scenes that took up whole days trying to do these action scenes and be safe doing those. So it was just trying to cram that much kind of action and exterior stuff. So like I said, for the 23 days, 21 of them were outside. In Oklahoma, the weather can get squirrely pretty quick. So we started, and it was like 80 degrees and sunny. And when we finished the day before Thanksgiving, it snowed. So like one day it snowed and sleeted so much that the camera froze. So we only got like 2 hours of shooting in. So it's just I think that's the biggest difference. Because I've been able to produce some bigger movies. You kind of run into all the same challenges, but on a bigger budget, you're really buying time. Time to develop the scenes and shoot things out and reshoot things. And on an indie production, you get one shot at it. And if you missed it, which happens, then you're just scrambling trying to figure out, okay, we lost the scene. Now, what do we do? Do we have to rewrite a scene? Do we put the information into another scene? So yeah, it's just a race against the clock on a budget like this.
Wow. Excuse me. And in Act 3, viewers would become immersed in a nighttime scene, which differs from Act 1 and Act 2. Here we see some dominant lighting. We also see some CGI influences. Please share how you wanted these segments to differ from the first two scenes.
Yeah, we wanted the final act to kind of, like go into this like that castle location, and it's a return for the lead. Trying not to give too much away. Return for the lead character kind of back into a world that he knows that used to know that he kind of has to face. So, we wanted the tone, the lighting, the mood, the smoke, the ambiance to kind of to fill that darkness and the tension of, could he overcome that or not? And of course you have to watch the movie to find out. But yeah, so that's kind of what we wanted Act three to portray.
Mm. And a funny thing is, when I was watching the film, my wife, she immediately recognized the actor William Levy from his
William,
telenovela. Yeah. She's like, oh, that's a telenovela actor. I'm like, I don't know. I had to check this IMDb to verify.
Yeah, exactly. So William is, a huge telenovela star, or was, and he has been crossing over. And Jeff Goldberg, my producing partner and the writer of The Veil, had always known of William and had some mutual friends, and always thought that he was going to be a huge star, and had a lot of talent, and even doing the telenovelas, he could see that there was a lot of talent there. So he actually really wrote the script with him in mind, and I don't watch novellas, so I didn't really know who he was, but once I met William, I realized he was perfect for this character, and he's obviously gone on to do Resident Evil, and he's been in some other U.S. productions. He's crossing over right now and doing other kind of more English-based U.S. productions. But yeah, he was great, and even the telenovelas gave him a lot of experience. So there was no situation we could put him in that he hadn't already faced. So we had him jumping in the water when it was freezing cold, doing fight scenes at night with his his shirt off, and all this intense action. But having done novellas, he couldn't phase him, compared to what they try to crank out on those types of shows. So it was great having him. He was great. Always showed up on time, ready to go. Always knew his lines. So memorizing lines, no issue for him. He knew everyone else's lines, and even little technical stuff. He's very technical. He would know if you were crossing the line with the camera, and caught us doing that a couple times, just because on telenovelas, what they're trying to do so much with the limited crew. On those as well, he would have to basically watch out for himself, so make sure that he, looked, was looking the right way and wouldn't look silly. So he was great. He was perfect to play the warrior character, and has become a good friend, and couldn't imagine anyone else doing it.
That's cool. And in my opinion, I find it amazing to see a Latino in the lead. What's your opinion on Latinos not taking part in leads, but taking over the leads?
Well, that's what really drew him to this, because at the time he was with, CAA, big agency, and they were, they don't want to do indie projects. It's not really worth their time. But for William, it was just about, putting him in the lead, and not having him play the typical type of role. So that's another way we were able to get William, because a lot of productions want William. A lot of people know he has a huge fan base. So for us, we were offering him the chance to be, an action star, and no one else was offering him that. And that's kind of how we got him, and my producing partner, Jeff, is, his wife is Guatemalan. So he's really kind of plugged in and loves, Latin content and watching telenovelas, and knows there's a huge audience for it that's kind of underserved. And so that was one of the reasons we were thinking, that William would be great, because, he has a huge following, but we don't want to see him kind of doing the same typical things that he's done doing telenovelas. He's already done that. He did that. It was a season. He made a lot of money off of it. It was great, but now he wants to do something else and show a different side. So that was one of the exciting things, to see him be able to do more action-oriented roles, which is what he wanted to do, which made him so excited to do The Veil. He was the most excited one on the set, so that was great. So that kind of created a great vibe and atmosphere when your lead actor wants to be there and is happy for this opportunity to do something different. And so he brought 110% every day, and that always trickles down from the, if your lead of your movie's on point and excited, then that just spreads to the rest of the crew and the other actors. So it was great.
Definitely. And one thing that really stands out for the film The Veil is that the characters are down to earth. In comparison to fantasy films back in the 80s and 90s, you see this big, main characters, big burly guys. And this one is more down to earth, more direct.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean we tried to set a little bit in the fantasy world, of course, unknown time and place, and these worlds, but at the same time, like you said, trying to ground it in reality. And like obviously, this is a story that we wrote and is not true, not a true story. It's a but we tried to base like all the characters, like we did a lot of research into some Native American culture and research into Aztec culture, and try to kind of root it in reality, and connect the drama and the story to that. So hopefully the characters are not caricatures but characters and more relatable. So I love that you picked up on that or had that note. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're each of them are the main cast. They're all very relatable in a sense that you have retribution, you have anger, you have grief. So these are all human emotions that the audience will definitely pick up on.
That's great. That's amazing. So, I mean, a lot of that too is the actors. You know what I mean? So it's William Levy, William Mosley, and Serinda Swan, and even Nick Terabay, the lead actors, and they really bring that to life. So writing it is one thing, but an actor bring it to life is amazing. I mean, Jeff did a great job trying to write, not just one-dimensional characters. This wasn't supposed to be this guy's good, this guy's bad. He saves her in the story. So we wanted to have something. The goal was, something a little more complicated, where even the arc of our characters, are basically intersecting. So as one character kind of rises, another character is falling. So and that's kind of true to real life. There's no one's ever always good or always bad. It's always kind of a mixture, and it's kind of more about where you're going, not where you are. So I'm glad that kind of came through. I'm good. That's awesome.
Yeah. And from a personal development standpoint, you began your film career with shorts and producing. Did you visualize creating a full feature, and has this vision turned out the way as you expected it to be?
Yes and no. I mean, there's some things, especially being my first, that just didn't get realized the way you want. I think that happens with everyone. I mean, I think as a filmmaker, the ultimate goal is to get like what you have in your head, like on screen, and I think to get to that, you're probably going to need, huge cast and huge budget, which we had a great cast but not a huge cast, and we had a budget but not a huge budget. So there's always sacrifices to be made. So it's trying to sacrifice as least as possible and get the vision out in your head. So for me, I think look, I had an amazing experience doing it. I think it's a great kind of first feature, first step for me. But I have so much more that kind of I want to accomplish and say, and I think it'll take. It may take 5, 6, 7 movies for us to grow to where we can, maybe get exactly what we have in our head on the screen. But I think visually, and production design wise and acting, I think we did a great job with what we have, and I'm really proud of it. But I still feel like I got a lot more growing to do, and obviously even just from doing this project, even when we wrapped, like the next day I was like, okay, I'm ready to make another feature. I just I learned so much, so it's just for me the process of doing the 3 shorts that I directed and then now doing this, it's just little steps, and hopefully maybe in 20, 30 years I can make that masterpiece. But I got so much more to learn, and hopefully we make some good films along the way. But it was an incredible experience, and I look forward to, or I am looking forward to, and doing and making more.
Right. And of course, it's all a learning process. And we look back, we don't dwell on the past, but we learn from it and we evolve. That's the beauty of this artwork and art form.
Yeah, you got to keep moving forward. For me, it's like, I worked on this film for so long, and we edited. The editing process took forever, trying to get the story the best we could, and adding on some reshoots and just doing everything we could. And then, but now it's coming out. Time to kind of move on and keep going. And you can easily get worried, like, how's the movie doing, or what are the reviews? For me, I just have to shut all that out and just go make another movie. And just keep making them and keep making them. And for me, it's the process of doing the work and being on set that I love so much, so it's just getting back to that. So, I think if we just kind of keep our head down and keep, trying to do good work and doing our best and learning and growing, eventually we'll hopefully pop our head up in 20, 30 years and we'll be where we wanted to go. But it's, a bunch of little steps along the way that kind of get you there.
Exactly. And of course, you founded Toy Gun Films. So what would be the target genres for the company?
Well, yeah, I get asked that a lot. I mean, for me, it's just kind of, I want to, be kind of almost like a fetish filmmaker, I want to make films I want to see. So, I personally have a wide variety of films I like, so whether it's, kind of action fantasy, which I love, or action thriller, or even just, straight dramas, for me, it's less about saying like, oh, we want to do action fantasy sci-fi and we want to be known just for that. It's a little bit broader, just kind of reflects like, I just want to tell great stories, when there could be, a sports story and maybe the format is documentary, and maybe that's the best way to tell that story. So it's just kind of whatever I get interested in, which is why I liked filmmaking so much, is like you get to explore a certain area intensely for a couple of years, and then you move on to something different. So, for this project, The Veil, we looked into Native American culture, and I studied Oklahoma, and we looked into the Aztec culture, and looked into sword making, and kind of all these, even we looked into some physics things about black holes and all kinds of stuff. So that was great, and I learned so much. But then now, I'm looking at a couple other projects which are totally different, but then you get to learn about that, and I think that's the fun part. So at the end of the day, it's just, is it a story worth telling? And, for if it's a script, if it's well written, then I'll do it. There's probably only a couple of genres I wouldn't do. So it's just, it's just kind of whatever I get excited about. But definitely action, fantasy, sci-fi, thriller, crime, crime drama. I love that kind of stuff. So hopefully there'll be a lot more of that mixed in with some different things every now and then, just to mix it up and keep it fresh.
Right, cool. And to touch on the genres you wouldn't do, I'm assuming romantic comedies is one of them, correct?
I say that, but then I'm watching me do a romantic comedy next or something, like if the script was great, right, then I would do it, like there are some romantic comedies that I think are funny and are good, or like even like, musicals would not be my thing necessarily. I'm not, partially because I'm like tone deaf, and but you see funny movie every now and then, like, that make you think, oh, maybe, so I learned never say never. If I say something that I don't want to do, I'll end up doing it and looking like a fool. So you never know. But there's definitely the things I gravitate towards in the films that I like, so and that would kind of be in the vein of The Veil, or action, adventure. I mean, at the end of the day, I love drama. So I think what we're looking for is to tell dramas with genre elements, whether that be action or thriller. Because I think the best movies, have that, have these genre elements in it. But at the end of the day, the story has to be, great and interesting. And I think that's what we're trying to do with The Veil, and learning and hopefully getting better. But I think if you can get like a cool, whether it be heist or action, fantasy, sci-fi film that has a great story with it, and you can marry the two together, then that's when you can get that home run, So that's what we're trying to do is if I did an action film, if it's all action for action's sake, I mean, it can be cool and fun to watch for a while, but if the story isn't great, then it's just not going to work. But when you get those, those two things working together, then that's when the magic happens, and that's hard to do. So we're gonna keep trying until we can figure it out.
Exactly. And of course, to close out the interview, the platform is open. You care to share some more information, the social networking, the release for The Veil, anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, The Veil is releasing, I mean, we're talking now, I don't know when people listen, but it'll release August 11th, which is this Friday, so a couple days. It's releasing in 11 theaters. They're AMC theaters, so New York, LA, my home state of Oklahoma, and several other places. If you you want to try and catch it on the big screen. At the same time, it's releasing VOD. So I know the iTunes pre-order is up, so you can pre-order now and download it on Friday. And then I think all the kind of traditional VOD platforms you'll be on, whether, the PlayStation, all these different ones. So you should be able to find it pretty easily. And then, my production company is Toy Gun Films, and then my social stuff is all Brent Ryan Green. That's my kind of full names on all the all the platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and we'll update about other projects. Got other stuff in production now. So that's where they can check out The Veil and stay updated.
Oh, thank you. And once again, thank you for your time, and thank you for these wonderful information and responses to these questions.
Oh, thanks so much for having me on. It's it's stuff like this and getting the word out to listeners, because there's so much stuff out there that to watch. So things like this really help give us a chance and get exposure, so people can see this movie and hopefully track with us and see some more movies to come in the future. So really appreciate it.
You're very much welcome, and also best of luck to your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Oh, hopefully we'll talk soon on those too. So look forward to that.
Looking forward to that as well. Thanks.
All right. Take it easy until then.
Exclusive interview. Peter Mckeiron, director, writer, The Quacky slasher.
It was a time of chaos, when crime ruled the streets. One man will rise up to strike fear into the hearts of his enemies. One man will become a duck.
Oh my gosh, it is going to be extremely difficult to introduce our next segment without bursting in laughter. And that's not saying it in a bad way. This is a very comical horror throwback to nostalgic era of horror films. I had the pleasure to speak with the Quacky slasher director, writer, Peter Mckeiron. In the past, we covered Mckeiron's other horror projects, the web series titled Dead Town, and there is also a novel tie-in to that web series. With the Quacky slasher, Mckeiron ventured into a short film medium. The synopsis for the Quacky slasher reads as follows. Michael Quackers has spent 20 years in a psychiatric ward, returning home to fight the criminal underbelly of his town. Michael must become the one thing that scares him most if he is to succeed. He must become a duck.
Quack, quack.
Wow. Oh, wow. Stacy, have you seen the trailer for the Quacky slasher?
I have. It was interesting.
Please explain to me, what was the issue that the guy had with the bear? They had to kick it so many times.
Well, I would explain the character that is kicking the bear, which is Winnie the Pooh. He is one of the bad guys, not to reveal too much. And the name of that character is the Wet Dream.
MG. I'm gonna get wet of laughing.
Stacy's having fun with this segment here.
She sure is.
That goes to show you the comedic element that Peter Mckeiron he infused in the Quacky slasher.
Quack, quack.
I mean, this is a horror film. It's a comedy first, horror second. And as I mentioned before, the Quacky Slasher touches on throwback era of horror films. And for those who are young enough to are familiar with, that type of era had the cheesy dialogue and the weird storylines, and the cinematography was, you know, crazy and goofy in a creative way. And this is what we see in the Quacky Slasher. So definitely check it out. It is on YouTube. And yeah, so if you enjoy British comedy with horror, I think this is gonna be an iconic franchise right here. You have an iconic character with the Quacky Slasher.
Quack quack.
Don't you agree, Stacy? I mean, he's like, who would have thought a duck? Really?
I wouldn't have thought of that. No.
Quack quack.
Like in the film.
Quack.
Remember I said in the personal that it kind of reminded me of like Michael Myers with a duck face. I mean, is it like, does it kind of like, you know, not tie into, but like reference?
Yes. It does.
It does?
Yeah, it references other horror. You have to watch the film, and you're gonna see some references there. They have in the opening scene to Act 1, they have some references to Jason and Michael Myers, and then of course the character, he has resemblance to Michael Myers, but oh man, it's so funny. I describe the film as a what the fuck film, meaning you watching it and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? But in a good way, you know, not in a bad way. It's a good way. You know, you feel entertained, and you know you have to have a big vision to portray a duck as a serial killer. Come on. Come on. That is a good. I find it to be very innovative, and you know, it's pretty cool. It's bold. You don't see that around. No, everybody takes slashers too seriously. Don't you agree? Right? All the slashers are too serious.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
They should make some weird
Aren't
little
they
fun.
supposed to be serious?
Quack quack.
They're not supposed to be serious?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but now you don't see slashers the same way again after watching the Quacky Slasher.
Well, I love that tagline, don't fuck with the duck.
Don't fuck with the duck.
I love the
That is cool.
Or is it don't quack with the duck? I don't know.
Do not sleep with the quack quack.
It could have been a little sly with it, but you know.
Yeah, but it worked. And the movie poster, I enjoy the movie poster too. The artwork is original. Come on, oh man. I think this could be a good feature film, you know, if they expanded. And mind you, in the interview, he'll be discussing the cost of the film, how the film was made in under a tight budget. So yeah, the Quacky Slasher. Oh my gosh, watch it. I mean, good, clean British comedy and horror. And without further ado, here is my interview with director-writer Peter Mckeiron. My name is Ken Artuz, founder and editor for DecayMag.com, and joining me this afternoon for this interview is writer-director Peter Mckeiron, and he'll be discussing his latest project, the comedy horror short, The Quacky Slasher. Thank you, Mr. Mckeiron, for your time and for this interview.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for chatting to me. Looking forward to this.
Thank you. And I'll open up with this first question, and this is a business question. Filmmaking is a business, and as a filmmaker, there's always the requirement to think outside the box. Describe how the Quacky Slasher fits this protocol.
I co-own a production company called Slumberjack. entertainment, completely independent of any kind of other production companies or any kind of money coming in. Every bit of money, every bit of equipment, we have to find ourselves. The Quacky Slasher started off as a 14-second horror film called Foul Play, which was basically the story of a serial killer with a duck mask, and he rescues a kidnapped girl from the back of a car. From that, we then developed it into the Quacky Slasher, the short film. And we did a crowdfunding campaign to raise the money to make that. And we were looking for $3,000 to make that film. We got £900. So that was, it didn't work out as we wanted it to. Not one for trying, but it didn't work out. We didn't get the money needed. So we then had to adapt, and we decided whatever budget we got for this film, we were going to make it regardless. One of the things that we do as a production company is every project that we do, every funding that we do, we invest into the company. So we buy our own equipment, we buy props, we just invest in. So everything that we do, we can then take forward into the next one. So when we started the Quacky Slasher, we were in a very good position. We had good camera equipment, we had good sound equipment, we had a dedicated crew and cast who had worked with us before. So that really helped with the budget. But yeah, it's as you said, you need money to make these things, and when that money doesn't come in, you really have to, as you said, think outside the box. There's a scene in the Quacky Slasher where he chops off the head of, not to give too many spoilers away, but he chops off the head of one of the bad guys. Now that head is used in the film Good Tidings, which some of your listeners, some of your readers may have seen, and the guy that did the special effects for that film also did the special effects on another project of ours, which is called Dead Town. So we contacted him, Andy Savage, and said, we haven't got, we need this prop, we don't have any money to get one made, can we use the head? It's the same actor from the film, and he was like, yeah, of course, yeah, you can come and borrow it, just don't break it. So we borrowed that for a couple of hours and give it him back a couple of days later. So that would, if we would have gone and got the actor's head cast, it would have took a big chunk out of the budget that we had. So pulling in favors like that and having contacts from other production companies and special effects artists, it's really good for us.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. So you would say, as a filmmaker and as from a business perspective, it is very important to adapt to what is being presented to you, and in this case, it was a micro budget.
Yeah, when I'm writing a project, I think about what limitations we're going to have, and I always Normally, I write for the worst case scenario, which will be a zero budget. When we made Dead Town, the first episode, we had £40 to make the first episode for that. Everybody involved give up their time, their resources, everything for free, which is why it looks, it looks good for the money that we had to make that on. So when I come to write now, I'm fully aware that the films that we make are low budget, and you can do crowdfunders and you can go and ask people to back the film, to maybe offer them, you give us money, we'll advertise you in the film, or we'll put your company logo in the credits and things. But when you're dealing with short films and films that aren't necessarily going to get a distribution deal, for investors, there's no real comeback on that. So with crowdfunding, you can offer them perks, so they get things for the money. But yeah, it's a business. But when it's like you've got to do it with love, film. So you have love in your heart for the film that you want to make, and you've got to want to invest in that and not expect to make a profit out the back of it. So everything we've never made any money out of it, and anything that we do, we do short films, the web series, we run a film festival. Everything we do is to promote independent film and to carry on making low budget films, but at maybe a standard which is above. When people see the money that's spent on it, they'll go, "Oh, really?" Because we like to try and push it as far as we can on the money that we do have.
That's great, and you bring up a very important point. is to do what you love. I hear a lot of business people, motivational speakers, they always emphasize you have to do what you love, because once you lose that affection for the art, it becomes something different. It becomes like an obstacle, and then you don't have that drive, and then your product doesn't take off. You believe in that 100%.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. It becomes the day job that you hate doing, the day job that you just do to get the money coming in, but your heart's not really in it. I mean, I co-own Slumberjack Entertainment with Rod Hay, my business partner. I'm an author, so I write books, I write scripts. We do web series, short films. We're looking at doing a feature film in the future, and I work full time as well. So the full time job is the job where maybe like it's not something you love, but it's something that you have to do to pay the bills and support your family. But then the film side of it and the writing side of it, and with the books and whatnot and everything else, that's where the love is, and that's where it's. I think it comes through as well with, if you watch, you can see the fun in the things that we do, and that people involved. I mean, everybody involved in everything that we do does so out of their own free will. That we don't. We're not in a position to pay them yet. We're not in a position to offer them kind of expenses yet, because we do things on such a low budget. But yeah, the people that we work with, and you've seen some of the films that we've done. We use the same crew, the same cast. You'll recognise a few faces. They want to come back and carry on working with us because they enjoy. It's a good atmosphere on set. Everybody has fun, and everybody gets what we're trying to do, and that's important.
Right. So with restrictions and obstacles that come with any project, Dead Town, the Quacky Slasher, what is your drive as a filmmaker to bring these products to the spotlight?
My drive is to I personally, it's a difficult one. There's a few different reasons why I do it. One, I do it to stay sane. If I wasn't being creative and doing this type of thing, I would probably, I don't know, I'd have had a breakdown by now. I can't, for any kind of creative person, if you're not being creative, it's the worst thing in the world. And I went through my 20s not really being that creative, and I'm making up for it now. So I'm really, it's a great stress relief to do that type of stuff. And when Dead Town started, I mean, all I ever wanted to do was write. And then when we started doing Dead Town, I started directing, and then it's kind of just snowballed from there. And I love every little aspect of filmmaking. I love when you're writing, you're on your own. It's a very insular thing. I'm on my own. I really enjoy that. I don't know why. It's just, I think anyone who enjoys writing is a bit strange, to be honest. It's a very singular thing that you do on your own, unless you're in a partnership. And then on the flip side of that, you go from being on your own writing the script to being with a group of people, and you're out filming, and there's the banter and the laughs and the fun that everybody has, and everybody has an input, and things develop and change on set, and I love all that. And then I come back home, and then I'm back on my own again editing, so like I'm doing that side of things. And I don't know, there's a kind of, I think the goal behind doing stuff is I want to show that you don't need a lot of money, you don't need like top of the range equipment to do what you do. Although we have got some good gear, it's just if you've got the drive to see it through and the love to see it through, and you've got the right support network around, you've got the right team working with you, and they're all working together towards the one goal, that you can actually create something fun that people will enjoy.
Absolutely, I agree. And of course, I've seen the Quacky Slasher, reviewed it. My curiosity is, when designing the Quacky Slasher with this comedic tone, what was the intent, the artistic goal for horror?
For the horror aspect of it was very much, I mean, I grew up watching slasher movies and B movies from the 80s. I remember my dad getting what's over here is called Sky TV, it's cable TV, for the first time, and I think it was like 1990 when he got that. And suddenly, I'm at my dad's house, and we've got access to all these channels, and they're all fighting for content, so they're putting anything on. So you find channels that are just showing trauma movies, and they're just showing old Godzilla movies, and then There's like I'm watching Poltergeist in German, even though I can't understand it, and I was like about nine years old at the time, and it's absolutely amazing. And I'm watching all these old horror films, and so like the horror aspect of the Quacky slasher is very much influenced by everything that I loved growing up. So you've got like it's very evident that there's a John Carpenter influence in there. You can tell from the clothes and the stalker type style of him that it's very much Michael Myers. There's a couple of gags in there where he takes a gun off somebody and blows a hole through the middle of the guy's head, and that's just something I've wanted to do that for ages. Not real, I don't really want to blow a hole in someone's head, but it's a joke. Originally it was meant for Dead Town, where he was going to punch a zombie in the head and his fist was going to go straight through, and then he was going to have a look through the camera and then do that. We may still do that at one point, I don't know. And then it changed, and then I always thought, I'm not a special effects guy, I'm not a practical effects guy, I don't really understand the ins and outs of it. That's for people much more talented than me. So I always thought it would cost an absolute fortune. And then when we were coming to do the Quacky slasher, Paul Fay, who did the special effects for that, I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, just get me a polystyrene head. So I got a polystyrene head that cost £3 from eBay. We got that delivered, and he just basically punched a hole in it, put some latex around it. Luckily the actor was bald, so we didn't have to worry about any hair or anything. And then he filled it with Milla Lite yogurt and some blood.
Wow.
So it's full of like rice pudding was in there, so it was like dripping down, and when the camera's up close on it, it looks really good. But the kind of the horror is very secondary in the Quacky slasher. There's a much more comedic feel with this than anything else. But the horror is it's very John Carpenter influenced. It's very Halloween. Anything from like you got Friday the 13th bits in there, especially with a little bit of the music that you can hear. And so it's 80s slasher movies is where I've gone from there, with a little bit of B movie fun thrown in.
Yeah, it's quite enjoyable, and as I had mentioned it before, the Quacky slasher is a film that it thinks us outside the box. Yesterday I was talking with my colleagues. We were stating slasher films are so serious, and watching the Quacky slasher just takes all the seriousness out, and you just enjoy the film how it's supposed to be. It's just very comedic.
It gets better the more you watch it as well. So you watch it a few times, it gets more fun. It's purposely meant to look silly. It's purposely meant to look low budget. Even though we've got some great drone shots. We used a drone for the opening sequence in there. It's meant to be over the top, ridiculous, badly acted. Everything is done on purpose. There's a scene in there where you see the two police officers for the first time, and I purposely went with female police officers just to try and flip that on its side. I think on its head. I think people would mostly expect that they would be bumbling male police officers, detectives, trying to hunt down the Quacky slasher. So I wanted to put two female characters in there and just flip it around. And then there's a scene where they're there at there's the first dead body, and they're trying to assess the scene. You got two CSI guys, and they're taking pictures of the body, and the lens caps are on the cameras. I don't know if you noticed, but if you watch it back, the lens caps are on the cameras. And while we were filming, they were clicking away, and I said, "Put the lens caps on the cameras." And one of the production crew said, "But why would they have lens caps on the cameras?" And I went, "Because it's ridiculous. Put them on. It's quite obvious, and they're not really CSI guys, as you find out." So
right.
These old it's daft. There's a lot of my other influence is alternative comedy, which in Britain in the 80s and 90s was a big thing. We have, I don't know if you're familiar with British comedy from that era. But it was sweary. There was lots of swear words in there. There was lots of violence in there. It was very non-PC. And it was ridiculous, and there was no kind of rules with TV at that point. With British TV, we started in the 80s. We started off with 3 channels, and then we went up to 4 TV channels, and they were looking for content, and so they put anything on, and it kind of the rules of comedy developed on from late 70s, 80s to the kind of thing that we have now. But at the time, it was kind of anything goes. And so you saw lots of weird and wonderful things. We had the Young Ones, the Comic Strip Presents, and then going into the 90s, you have the League of Gentlemen, which is something I suggest you check out if you like your horror comedy and you like your dark comedy. The League of Gentlemen is absolutely fantastic if you can find that over there. And that's very much where the comedy influences come from as well.
Great, I'm going to look into that. And now let's discuss your other project, Dead Town. What is the status of this comedy zombie web series?
Well, Series 1, we released the last episode of Series 1 last year and then went straight into the Quacky Slasher. So it was a 3-part series for the first series. We did a crowdfunder again. We raised, I think it was just under £2,000 to make Series 1. As I said, the first episode was £40. We'd made that, and then we did a crowdfunder to make the other 2 episodes. Zombies are very expensive. No one ever told me this when I was starting out, that the makeup and the gags and everything, it costs a lot of money. So to make them look good anyway, and that's one of the things I'm proud of at Dead Town is we had Andy Savage working with us from Savage SFX, and Dean Garner from the Z Brothers as well, and they did an absolutely fantastic job on making the zombies look top notch. So I was absolutely thrilled with that. For a low budget production, we had these guys working with us, and so we did the 3 episodes, and then we decided that it was just going to be left. I decided I wasn't going to do anything more with that. I was going to leave it for free on YouTube for people to watch, people to enjoy, and we'll just see where it goes. And then about a week after me saying that, I'd wrote Series 2, so I was like, I had that ready to go whenever the time came up that we were going to start making it, but. We did Dead Town Series 1, we did a short film called Swings and Roundabouts, and then we went into the Quacky Slasher, and the Quacky Slasher has taken up from January up until the end of July, from start to finish, to get it completely done. So now we're on to looking at the next project, and it makes sense to me to go back to Dead Town because there's a fan base there. It was well received. It's won a few awards. It's had good reviews. So it makes sense to me to go back. And those characters, I've been writing for those characters in the Death in a Northern Town books for a while. So it comes quite naturally to me to write for them, and I enjoy them. And the guys that play the characters are good friends, and we have lots of fun. So it seemed like a natural thing for me to want to go back and do Series 2.
Yes, absolutely. I do recall reviewing this series. And for those in the audience that haven't seen Dead Town, it's quite comical, especially episode 1. The 80s guy, oh my God.
Yeah. The 80s Dave. Yeah. 80s Dave. Well, the 80s Dave, I mean, a few years back, I used to work in a factory that made tomato sauce, ketchup, mayonnaise, mustards, made all kinds of different condiments. And I used to work in the lab, and I used to test the sauces that came in. So it was a horrible job. Absolutely hated it. Absolutely hated having to eat all these different sauces and things, as well as doing tests on them. But from that came the inspiration for the main character, John's job. John eats mayonnaise for a living. And he hates. I don't hate mayonnaise, but a lot of people think I do because of the books. And 80s Dave makes the mayonnaise that John has to eat. So there's lots of jokes about a man eating another man's mayonnaise and things like that in the book. But 80s Dave is a real person. I used to work with 80s Dave, and he's an absolute nightmare. So I don't see him much anymore, luckily. Otherwise, I'd probably end up being committed, being sectioned or something, spending time with him. But I used to come into work, and Dave would be waiting for me, and he'd have made me a mixtape of like 80s music and stuff. I go, Dave, I haven't got a cassette player. Everyone uses CDs now. We've got fucking people, dickheads. And then, so like, and he'd constantly be making me all these different mixtapes, and it was all synth, 80s synth. And he's my age, he's in his late 30s. There's no reason why he should be so obsessed with 80s music for his age. He was a child in the 80s. Nobody should be, but Dave is. So I decided, after knowing him for a few years, that I was going to base a character on him, and he's kind of got a bit of a life of his own, that character. But he's a standout. He's a standout character, and he's really fun to write for as well.
Wow, that's the type of character that would drive anybody insane. They're stuck in the past. They look to the future.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
it's funny. It's funny when we were there's a song based on the books, Death in a Northern Town books, when we did a music video for it. It's called When Death Comes to Town. I'll send you a link so you can listen to this rock song. It's great, and it was the first bit of filming that we did, and it's got the original 80s Dave in the video. And I met with the band, and the band's playing me the song for the first time. And the lead singer Chris had read the books, and he's going, "Oh, I loved 80s Dave. 80s Dave. He's a brilliant character." And then the real 80s Dave walked past the window of the pub, and I went, "There he is. He's just there." And he came in, and he had his coat zipped up, and Chris went, "You don't look very 80s." And he went, "Don't I?" And he unzipped his coat, and he had a Run DMC t-shirt on. But yeah, it's I'll send you a link to that song because it's really good if you like your rock music and things like that. You'll enjoy that.
Yes, I do believe you had sent over a clip where the musicians, they were like in a small room. They were performing a song for Dead Town. Is that the same footage?
No, that's a different one. That's the end song of it, the song that plays out every episode. That's another brilliant track by Matt Mckeirnon, who's a brilliant musician. Lives locally to me. I actually first met Matt. We both worked at the mayonnaise factory years ago, which is another thing. That no, that's a different one. But I'll send you this so you can have a listen.
Great, thanks. And before our interview, you had sent over a clip. You had edited Dead Town into a short film. So what is the intent for this product for general audiences? You're getting them ready for season 2, or are you pushing this over for a film festival run?
Both. It's for both really. I've been thinking about it for a while, and so I thought, well, I'll do this. I'll put the 3 episodes together, see how it flows as a short film. It flows really well. It's got a new introduction. And then it was just a simple task of editing the 3 episodes together, really. There wasn't that much work to do in it because the guys that had worked on the film that had edited and filmed it for me had done a really good job. So everything flows really, really well. As I said, the idea behind it is because we haven't released anything for Dead Town since last December. I think November the last episode came out. So it's been a while. So it's just to refresh people's memories. Again, it brings us into a new market with film festivals. We can enter it into short film festivals and see how it does there. And it's also when we made series 1, we made an episode, we released it, then we made another episode, then we released that. But when we're coming to do series 2, it's looking like that we're going to film everything and then chop it down into episodes and then release it that way. So we're changing the way that we're filming as well. So. And that will end up being released as a short film and as a web series as well. So it's something I'm looking at, and I think people will enjoy it. We've got the world premiere of the Quacky Slasher next month in the UK, and it will also have Dead Town, the short film, will be shown. Swings and Roundabouts, another short film that we've done, and we're filming another short film in a couple of weeks called The Dog Walker, which is came from a conversation with a friend of mine that said, "How come it's always dog walkers that find dead bodies?"
That is so true.
It's always dog walkers, and nobody ever suspects that they're the person that killed that person, but it's always them that find it. He goes, so that's where the inspiration for that one's come from. So we're going to show all that, and then finish with the Quacky Slasher premiere, and then after that we start filming series 2 of Dead Town. So the idea behind it is it's to probably hopefully open it up to a new audience, refresh people's memories, the fans that we've got for the reasons why they enjoy it so much, and to get them a bit like hyped up and looking forward to series 2.
Great. And another question is, you have provided content for web platform. You have provided content as a short film. Do you see yourself anytime in the near future to create a full feature film? Are you ready for that next level?
I have a feature film written, 90% written. It needs a little bit of work on it. I've been working on it for a while. The Slumberjack Entertainment, our aim is to do everything in-house. so we don't have to go outdoors to bring pieces like sound recordists in, to bring editors in, to bring DOPs in, and that type of thing. We want to be completely contained and self-sufficient. So I want to make sure that I'm at that level, and the rest of the crew are at that level where we can do this and do it justice. So the idea behind doing the original idea behind doing the web series, and it still stands, is that everybody involved can use it as a stepping stone to then try and move on to do other things, and we can bring people in and we can have fun and people can get experience and lead on, and that goes for me as well. So I'm hoping to grow and working on these short films, develop myself, develop the crew, everybody, the actors, everybody involved, so we get to the level where this film that I've written, we can do it justice and not put something out that's going to be below par. So I need to make sure that as a production company we're ready, and I think we're going in the right direction. We're still a young production company. We've only been established as a company for just over 12 months. In that time, we've released 2 fully self-contained films, with short films with swings and roundabouts, and now the Quacky slasher, and obviously Dead Town is part of that as well. And so I think we'll be ready soon. I'm going to get Dead Town out of the way. There is a sequel to the Quacky slasher that I'm working on called Crimson Beak, which is it's the Quacky slasher versus the Nazis. Pretty much, it's complete. You think the first one's insane, this one's just going to be completely nuts. So we're going to go. We will want to do that one, and then there's the feature film that we've been working on, which is called Fiends Like Us, which is about a group of ghouls and demons that run a social club, like a drinking establishment. It's like a members only club. So it's headed up by a vampire. There is a invisible man. There's a werewolf who's only a half breed, so he can only half transform into a werewolf. There's an ancient Egyptian mummy. There's a cyclops with a cataracts, so he's going blind. And it's complete. Oh, there's a merman as well. It's completely ridiculous, over the top. It's like a fly on the wall documentary type, but it's going to be a feature film. So again, it's comedic. It's not scary really in the slightest. It's just going to be played for laughs. But using like some of the horror elements and things like that with the vampires and the werewolves and things. So it's getting to the point where I feel that and the team feels that we're ready to take that next step. I think we're getting there. I don't think we're far away, but I want to be able to do it justice.
Great. And starting off doing a web series, there's always that jump start. I had reviewed another horror short series. I mean, there's a lot of work and commitment into providing content as a series for the web, but there's always that one potential person that would find your series and say, "Hey, let's fund this. Let's take it to the next level." You ever think that would happen with with Dead Town?
I would love for that to happen with Dead Town. My goal since I was a child has always been to write for TV. That's always what I've wanted to do. I've always wanted to write comedy for TV, and I think Dead Town and the format of it, where it concentrates on a small group of characters in a small town, looking at the zombie apocalypse on a small level, following them around, and there's no military involved. There's no huge scale battle scenes with zombies. It's all very micromanaged, and the way that they move around lends itself quite well to a TV, budget wise, and with the comedy and things that are in there. So I think that it would work quite well. And the whole thing is now it's so easy to get content out there. Anybody with a phone can go out and make a show, can make anything. Technology is so available now to everybody that if you have an idea and do it, get it out there, put it on the internet. You never know who's going to see it. We've had it reviewed, and we've had people like it, and we've been invited to festivals, and we've gone. Dead Town episode 1 was filmed was screened at a festival called Weekend of the Dead, which is Europe's biggest George Romero festival. So it was screened in a room with actors from Land of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead, and they were all watching Dead Town, and I'm stood there next to this big screen with Dead Town on, going, "Oh my God, he's going to start saying cunt in a minute, and he's going to start saying," and they were all laughing and really got the humour, even though it is a very British thing. And that was amazing for us to be invited over there to do things like that. So, and that was all from, if you don't put something on the internet, and if you make something and don't make it available for other people to see, then nothing will happen. But what's the worst thing that could happen? You get a bad review, you get some bad comments on YouTube. My thing is, I'm quite thick-skinned anyway, is that if you believe in what you're doing and the people around you believe in what you're doing, and somebody else will as well. So like if you put that out and people enjoy it, as long as the good outweighs the bad, then you're doing right, and just keep going, because you never know who's going to see it.
Exactly, that's 100% true. And it also, when you receive the bad feedback, I mean constructive, sometimes you have the crazy people on the internet, but when you get the constructive bad comments, you feed off of that. You create
That's
it,
true.
You work around it, and you provide a better content, and it really helps out in that form as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I take on board. I shouldn't read every review. I've been doing it since the first book was released, but I read everything, and the only way you're going to get better is to take on board and understand the difference between a critical review, where it's meant to help the filmmaker and it's meant to be constructive, and people that are just sounding off and are just being negative for negative's sake. And luckily, I've got everything that we do is always going to have bad points pointed out to me. So you do have to take that on board. And there's things that I know I definitely need to improve on as a filmmaker, as a writer, director, editor. Everything I do, I constantly want to improve. So any kind of review where any element of the film is critiqued and it's not liked, or they said that this could have been a little bit better, then I'll definitely consider that and definitely think about that and take that forward into the next project.
Exactly. And before I close out, it's also important to point out that you always got to have some members of the audience who shell up and they critique the progress of the businessman, the progress of the visionary, the filmmaker, because they themselves have that fear to progress forward. So they see somebody else doing it, so they got to critique it in a negative light and always persevere over that. It's very important to do so.
Definitely.
And usually I provide a platform to discuss your future projects. You have touched on what do you have plans in the future. So the platform is open. Anything else you care to share, social media, where people could follow you, and so on and so forth?
Okay, well, we have the anybody on Facebook. If you look for Dead Town Official on Facebook, you'll find the Dead Town page. That's got all the zombie stuff on there. If you just search for me, Peter Mckeirnon, you'll find me. If you can spell my surname right, you'll find me on Facebook and on Twitter. Death in a Northern Town is the book, so you can find me that way as well. If you type that into any kind of social media, the production company Slumberjack Entertainment, we've got our own website. You can find us there. Just Google that. There's stuff on the DecayMag website, so you'll be able to find us there too. Future projects, we're going. Quacky Slasher is getting its world premiere next month, and it's doing the festivals and doing a few horror conventions in the UK. And then we're going back into Dead Town, making Dead Town Series 2. And then, knowing me, there will be any other amount of short films that'll be coming up as I think about them and write them as I go along. And then book-wise, Death in a Northern Town 4 is coming out soon. I'm in a couple of anthology books that are coming out. I've got a revenge serial killer book called Blades of Ray, which is going to be coming out early next year. I think it's going to be now. So there's always something going on constantly. But if you, I'm more active on Facebook than Twitter. I can never quite get on with Twitter for some reason. I don't know why. But anybody on Facebook will be able to keep up to date. And then Dead Town is free to air on YouTube. So if you type Dead Town into YouTube, it's one of the first things you see. You'll find the web series. There's a music video on there. There's outtakes. All kinds of things, so you can keep up to date with anything going on. And the same with Slumberjack Entertainment. If you type that into YouTube, you'll find our YouTube channel where there's some short films on there for people to see.
Great, thank you. Thank you for this information. Very rich information, and very, very motivational stuff that you have provided as well. especially from a visionary, a filmmaker, and from a business perspective. So thank you so much for your time.
No problem. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for chatting to me, and I hope to do it again soon sometime.
Absolutely. With the slate of projects that you have coming up, I'm sure we will have another interview sooner than later.
Yeah, well, there's nothing good on TV these days, so you have to. I have to write my own entertainment. Just keep on. Just keep on. It's the same with anybody who wants to do anything. You've just got to keep on going and just keep on carrying on creating.
Exactly. Best of luck to your endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Mother, directed by Darren Aronofsky.
We spend all our time here. I want to make a paradise.
She redid all of it, every last detail. And she breathed life back into every room.
Are you happy?
I love you.
I watched Paramount Pictures' new movie trailer called Mother. In this trailer, actress Jennifer Lawrence wakes up, looks around, and then finds her husband and, gives a little kiss and stuff like that. For me, that was kind of corny because they're trying to portray the perfect couple. Then she's doing some type of fixing in the house. Then there's a cutscene, she's outside. Then she comes inside, she goes into a room, she sees some blood on the rug. Then all of a sudden she gets visitors. And when they come, you could see it in her face that she kind of seems to be disturbed by their visit. And after they get there, for her, all hell breaks loose because some kind of wild stuff starts happening. So here's some of the synopsis on Mother. A couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive at their home, disrupting their tranquil existence. Also joining in this film are Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, and Michelle Pfeiffer, to just name a few. Directed and written by Darren Aronofsky, and this movie will be released in September 15, 2017. Mother, what do you guys think? Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, I do not enjoy Jennifer Lawrence. I had mentioned before, she portrayed Mystique, and all of a sudden she's protesting because she doesn't want that whole bunch of makeup on her body. And if you notice in the X-Men films, when she's portraying Mystique, she's a regular character. 9 times out of 10 she's normal. She's not with the blue skin tone and the contact lenses. I'm saying to myself, woman, you have to do your research. Mystique is blue. If you did not know that, why the fuck did you take the role? I mean, seriously, that goes to show you that she just wanted a fast paycheck and didn't care not one bit about the character and the portrayal. That's my opinion on Jennifer Lawrence. Stacy, what did you think of the trailer for Mother?
It was it was interesting. I don't really know what to say about the trailer, but I will say that Jennifer Lawrence, I don't know if that is a role for her or not. I guess we'll, have to see. But I don't know. I feel like it's kind of an off role, I should say. Michelle, I am excited for.
So you think that this type of role, she cannot portray this character well?
I don't know. I mean, the only films I've really seen with Jennifer Lawrence were the Hunger Games.
She was in the
All
Hunger
I know
Games,
her.
right?
Yeah, so that's really all I know her for. And this film, it just seems like an off character and an off. Oh yeah, you did mention she was Mystique in X-Men. Yeah.
Right, she was X-Men. She was in she was in Passengers, that sci-fi film.
I haven't.
Or even in that movie, she was kind of like,
Right? Yeah, right? I saw that too in Passengers. She was just so, yeah, like, you know, the other person that she was with in this spaceship, he was about to die outside, and all of a sudden she's supposed to be concerned for his safety, and it didn't feel authentic. It did not feel authentic. But I think I'm gonna do a mind-blown analysis. You know, Stacy enjoys it when I do these mind-blown analysis. Yeah, exactly. I need to get a special effect for that. I need to get a special effect. Okay, so Stacy, have you seen the poster for Mother?
Yes, I'm looking at it. It looks bland.
This poster, it just has her face, and if you look at her face, it looks like porcelain. Her skin is made out of porcelain, and it's cracked, and it's chipping away. Now, just with the trailer did not offer this type of analysis. The poster does. I think that Mother is about a person with dual personalities, and that is explained with the poster, because that type of imagery, it portrays somebody that has dual personality, that they have two roles in one body, and I'm eager to know what her inner personality is, because we know she's a mother, she's taking care of the house, she's a wife, whatever that case may be. That's why they gave it a title Mother, because she's that type of person. But her inside, what secret is she hiding? What is it? Is she a killer? Or does she have another type of personality that is what do you call that, Enid? What do you call that?
Alphabet.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a point. You're supposed to back me up here. Anyway, dual personality in the poster, that's what it portrays. That's what Mother's going to be about. And Darren Aronofsky, he did the same thing with Black Swan. For those who have seen Black Swan, that was about dual personalities, and I think he's doing the same thing with this one.
Oh, yeah. I remember that movie, Black Swan.
And if you look at the poster for Black Swan, also, that explains dual personality with the poster alone. Don't watch the trailer. You see the poster, same shit.
But you also see in the trailer that when she sees Michelle Pfeiffer, there's something there between them.
Michelle Pfeiffer could be her handler. And we could go inside MK Ultra discussions about handlers.
Not right now.
Excuse me, I didn't say I was going to. I was trying to do a mind blown here.
You opening the subject to get into it.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
We're talking about Mother.
I'm skimming the surface of MK Ultra and dual personalities. Okay. Anyway, Stacy, so what do you think about that? Yeah, different perspective of the film now.
Yeah, now that you put it that way, because when you mentioned the poster, I was thinking, you know what popped into my head? The movie The Boy. That movie popped into my head, like that whole just vision, like, oh, I wonder if she's like a spirit trapped inside of this doll.
You know, I've never seen the ending for The Boy, so.
Oh, it's
The boy is a big boy.
The boy's a big boy.
Dude, no. So this pissed me off. Okay, so for the whole movie, I'm thinking like, oh, he's so cute. So he just want to be here. Come to 40-year-old man living inside of the walls. Like,
Talking like he's the boy.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's like this middle-aged guy living like, oh hell no. Like no, just no. You're not cute anymore.
Wow, that's sad and creepy.
Yeah, it disappointed me. It disappointed me. I was like, no, I wanted it to be, you know.
And then he tried to kill her.
Bitty, like, you know.
Huh. Interesting. I'm still looking at this poster for Jennifer Lawrence's mother. I mean, she has something red in her eyes, so I'm thinking her inner personality is evil. What do you think, Enid? You think so? Look at that. She has something in her eyes that's red.
Mm-hmm.
So she could have an evil personality inside of her.
She has a dope personality.
It could be contacts.
Nah, not contacts. They're expressing through.
I'm just saying, you know, they're trying to make contacts out here now to make it know he got glass eyes and everything.
Well, you see, Enid, when you smoke weed, it's supposed to tranquil that dual personality that people get. Come on, you still can't help me out with this one?
Oh, you mean
schizophrenia? There you go. Thank you.
Oh my God, it's schizophrenia bipolar.
Bipolar. Thank you. See, now I could.
You should have said the sickness.
I don't know, sickness or mental illness or whatever the case may be. I was trying to say. Now I could reinforce my statement. Bipolar. So this whole film could be.
So you think she's bipolar? So wait a minute. So then, with the trailer, and who was like Michelle Pfeiffer in the movie? I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Is that her study or something?
That's what I'm saying. Michelle Pfeiffer, she could be the handler. You see, if you look at IMDb, they don't even put the roles that they're portraying. They don't want people to figure the shit out. I think Michelle Pfeiffer's the handler. Javier Bardem is like a plant for Jennifer Lawrence's character to think that she's married to him, which is not. And the whole thing is just a setup. And then it's gonna have a twist at the end, a final reveal that she has a different personality.
Oh wow. Okay, I could see that.
Yeah. Let's see. But I don't care for Jennifer Lawrence as an actress at all. So if she's gonna be portraying a double personality, she better do a good acting. Yeah.
Definitely better do a good acting. She wacky.
Yeah.
She could be Jenny the Wacky.
What the fuck is Jenny the Wacky?
Jenny the Wacky Quacky. There you go.
Oh no. We gotta leave it like that.
Sci-Fi's Channel Zero No End House.
It's 6 rooms. Each one is scarier than the last. Most people don't even make it to the 6th room. The people who do, never seen again.
Channel Zero No End House is part of Sci-Fi's new slate of horror programming. Season 1 for Channel Zero was great, and I enjoyed the originality in concept and approach. Channel Zero is an anthology series, and what that means is that the storyline, the narrative, will change every season. For season 2, the theme is titled No End House, and the synopsis reads as follows. Inspired by Brian Russell's creepypasta tale, Channel Zero No End House tells the story of a young woman named Margot Sleater, portrayed by Amy Forsyth, who visits the No End House, a bizarre house of horrors that consists of a series of increasingly disturbing rooms. Now I'm gonna take it away to Stacy. Right after my analysis of this trailer. The trailer doesn't say much. It just hints on what the storyline is. We are discussing the teaser trailer, and also this is, I would say, one of the trailers itself. Not that much information. You see a house, you see a group of people discussing what this house is about. You see a girl drowning in the water. Bits and pieces of imagery, nothing that would really scare you or give anything away. Now for the teaser trailer, that was just absolutely garbage. I mean, someone with Adobe After Effects could have done this as a project for college to come up with some visual effects. It didn't do Channel Zero any justice whatsoever visually. The trailer, yes, it does. It just hints on what to expect. So, as I mentioned, Stacy, since you are well versed in creepypasta, what did you think of this trailer?
I wouldn't really call myself well versed in creepypasta. I recently heard about it myself, and I've really read that one story, Jeff the Killer. But I've never seen Channel Zero yet. I've only seen, commercials for it. The trailers were really also confusing, and I guess me never seeing it yet, it would be confusing for me.
You have not seen Channel Zero, the first season? That was so creepy. Creepypasta creepy.
Yeah, it's only creepy, the trailers, but I couldn't really make much sense of it. As you said, like the teaser trailer wasn't much to it. And then the other trailer was a little bit longer, and it's still, I'm just like, okay, I don't really know what to make of it. That's probably because I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2 for Channel Zero. I actually did not watch it on Sci-Fi, the season 1. I binged watched it on the DVR, and let me tell you, it's a pretty interesting series. I enjoy the originality. I'm enjoying where the source is coming from, the Creepypasta source, which is an online platform where people, regular average people, fabricate these stories, and sometimes it is based on urban legends, and they just modify it for modern times. And you have like Slender Man, and some other types of popular themes. Enid, you seen the trailer for Channel Zero? I know you watched a little bit of season 1 with me.
All I say is I feel sorry for the girl that's always in the water and the burning man.
The Burning Man, yeah, that was one of the scenes too. You gotta admit, they have some sci-fi is really pushing the envelope with some creepy scenes.
Yes, but like you said, the trailer was very repetitive. All I kept on seeing was the poor girl in the water and the burning man, and then again the girl in the water. So
no, and then the people talking about the house. I mean, they don't give much of this. Nothing. They don't give
it's
nothing.
Like they want to keep it hush hush.
Right, which is good. Makes people interested. But that teaser trailer was just garbage. Oh man, that looked like a template for After Effects.
To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story directed by Derek Dennis Herbert.
I've murdered more people on film than any actor in history.
Kane played Jason, and Jason is a huge character.
The hockey mask, the way he moves, his bulk, all of that is the logo.
You meet a lot of these people who play heroes and people who play bad guys. Most of the people that I've met who play heroes are assholes, and most of the people who play really bad people are nice guys.
To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story will release on August 26, 2017 in the UK. The documentary is directed by Dennis Herbert. The cast stars Kane Hodder, Danielle Harris, Bruce Campbell, Robert Englund, Cassandra Peterson, and Bill Moseley, among many others. The synopsis. To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story is the harrowing story of a dehumanizing childhood filled with torment and bullying in Sparks, Nevada. After surviving a near-death burn accident, he worked his way up through Hollywood, his ultimate rise as Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th series, and making countless moviegoers forever terrified of hockey mask camp. Featuring interviews with cinema legends, To Hell and Back peels off the mask of Kane Hodder, cinema's most prolific killer, gut-wrenching but inspiring documentary. After decades of watching Kane Hodder on screen, get ready to meet the man behind To Hell and Back, an uniquely human story about one of cinema's most vicious monsters. Think about this. I feel like it's very intriguing.
Absolutely. I mean, come on, Kane Hodder, come on. And Kane Hodder even portrays one of Enid's favorite slasher films. You know which one I'm talking about, right, Enid? Yeah, I know you enjoy that one. You still don't know Enid?
If people will see my face right now, they'll be like, "Yeah, she looks ugly," because you just missed the nastiest face I just did.
Yeah, I mean, that was your favorite movie.
I don't know.
Kane Hodder portrayed Victor Crowley in Hatchet.
Yeah, okay.
Hatchet.
They were all nasty. Hatchet 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, but Hatchet. But Kane Hodder is Jason Voorhees. I mean, who would have thought that, you put on a hockey mask and overalls, you don't have no talking role, but yet he acted so well as this killer. I mean, he really gave Jason Voorhees a persona, and he even portrayed Jason in the video game Friday the 13th. That's Kane Hodder's Jason. Come on. I'm looking forward to watching To Hell and Back, because I like it when they go behind the scenes and they talk about the actors, get in touch with them on a personal side, on their history, how they rose into the show business. I enjoy stuff like that. And I'm definitely looking forward to watching this film and seeing different opinions about his career and stuff like that.
Hulu's Castle Rock.
Keep the kids outside.
Oh my god.
Listen.
What did that?
I know what we have to do.
Oh my god. What did that?
I'm telling you, I saw something. Whatever killed Alice is going to kill you too.
They're going to find out about this. This door stays locked. No one comes down here. What about no one? Not a soul.
Well, if it won't start, the good news is I live right down the street. That yellow house right there, follow me.
Castle Rock is set to air in 2018. The fantasy horror mystery television series by Michael Upendal and Daniel Arias. The cast stars Melanie Linsky, Andre Holland, Jane Levi, Steve Rosetta, Frank Ridley, Bill Skarsgård, Phyllis Somerville, and Sissy Spacek. Castle Rock is a fictional town in Maine that Stephen King used as his work. The Dead Zone, Cujo, The Dark Half, and Needful Things, among other works, have all been set in Castle Rock. Other works that refer to Castle Rock: Pet Sematary, It, The Stand, Riding the Bullet, Dreamcatcher, and many more. Filming has started. Orange, Massachusetts has as the film crew shot the scenes. The series will release on Hulu Video on Demand. The synopsis. Based on the story, the series will intertwine characters and things from the fictional town of Castle Rock. The teaser trailer for Castle Rock is just that, yet the background music and computer effects are dramatic. What do you guys think about this?
A lot of Stephen King programming is hitting the waves. You have the Mist, you have It, now you have Castle Rock, and Castle Rock has a large cast of well-known actors: Bill Skarsgård, Sissy Spacek, Jane Levy. We all know Jane Levy. She portrayed. She starred in the remake for The Evil Dead. So yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. I'm familiar with some of these. I'm familiar with The Shining, of course, and Dreamcatcher, It, Salem's Lot. Yeah, that was a creepy film and book. So yeah, I want to see how this series develops, and I think this is Hulu's first entry into horror. I don't think Hulu has done anything horror. I could be mistaken, but I think this is the first one. And it says here that J.J. Abrams will serve as executive producer of Castle Rock. That's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I guess just as Enid says.
Let's wait and see.
Wow, you had that on speed dial. My gosh.
Television, The Munsters reboot.
I am so excited that NBC has decided to work with Kirkman to create a reboot for one of my favorite TV shows. The name of the show is called The Munsters. That's right. Herman, Lily, Eddie, Grandpa, and Cousin Marilyn are making a comeback. And this is the new project, The New Monsters. They are determined to stay true to themselves, but they struggle to fit in the hipster Brooklyn. Here's what NBC chief Bob Greenblatt said in January 2013. I won't say we won't do another version of The Monsters again. We tried to make it an hour, which ultimately has more dramatic weight than a half an hour. I hope this is done right, and it gets good ratings, as this is the second time NBC picks up on this project. Like always, stay tuned for updates at DecayMag.com. The Monsters. Yay! What do you guys think?
Another reboot? God, come on. Really? Man.
But you're talking about a show from back in the day.
Back in the days. Don't say back in the days, makes us sound old.
You old. Not me.
No, you're not old. I'm looking at a picture of The Monsters and it's in black and white. So if you're saying back in the days and you watched it, yeah, it sounds like we're old. No. Another reboot? Really? I know Stacy is excited for this Monsters reboot as well, right?
I've never seen The Monsters.
You never seen The Monsters? Not even in a commercial or something like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, but I've never seen the series.
Okay. That's the one with Cousin It, right, Enid?
Cousin It, isn't that the Addams Family?
Okay. You see? That goes to show you I don't know which one is which.
Mm-hmm.
There.
But you should. They used to love watching the Addams Family.
No. See?
Yes, you did.
No. There's a difference between watching it and being forced to watch it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Because you used to like it because there was one actor there that used to like his acting.
No. I don't think so.
Which unfortunately he passed away already.
Yes, I know who you're talking about, but no. I did not watch the Addams Family.
So how come you knew about Cousin It?
I said it because it was in the Monsters. See? Yeah.
It was just.
You see, the Addams Family and the Monsters look alike. Wednesday, she's in Addams Family, and then you have the Wolf Boy. Then you had.
He is called Eddie.
I don't know their names.
Do I gotta say again? It's Herman, Lily, Eddie, Grandpa, and cousin Marilyn, which she is the only one that looks normal in the family.
Yeah, I mean normal meaning she's not a
she
a
don't
monster.
look. Yeah.
Yeah. So
she looks blonde and like a regular person.
Yeah. So here is my question, and I know Enid you have the answer, and I know Stacy's gonna laugh. Stacy's getting ready to laugh. The mother is a vampire, right?
Yeah.
She's a vampire, or she's Frankenstein? Oh, she's a Frankenstein.
She's the bride of Frankenstein.
She's a bride of Frankenstein.
And then you have Mckeiron Monster, which is Frankenstein.
Okay, so she's a Frankenstein. Herman is a Frankenstein. And Grandpa is a vampire. He's a vampire. So how the hell they have a boy who's a werewolf?
Well, so then how the hell Grandpa is Lily's father?
Exactly.
Because Grandpa is Lily's father.
That's something's wrong there.
She's probably half Frankenstein bride and half vampire, maybe.
Or she probably was cheating on Frankenstein with the wolf man, and then she got pregnant, and Herman Monster thinks that's his kid, which he should do a DNA test and find out, hey, he's a werewolf.
Hey, don't be doing that to our listeners. Leave them alone with the monsters, okay? Don't be trying to change their minds, so now when they see the monsters, they're gonna see it a different way. How you be traumatizing me at times with certain things. No, they don't need that. Leave them alone.
Well, that was my observation. But Stacy, even though you haven't seen the monsters, I mean, this series was what, back in the 60s? Do you think it merits a reboot for modern times? I mean, it is kind of old. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely say it does. I just hope that, I mean, I've never seen the show, but just hope that maybe they don't get too far away from, you know what I'm saying, the roots of the show, if you will.
Right.
It's so modernized that you can't really tell that it's the monsters.
Exactly. And they did that with the Honeymooners. I mean, the Honeymooners is a comedy, it's not horror, but they made a remake of it. It wasn't a TV show, it was a movie, and that movie just bombed. I mean, they stripped. I mean, of course, you gotta make it modern, you gotta make the characters different, but they stripped away everything that was the Honeymooners, and they made it too modern, and it just bombed. The storyline was just terrible. And now we have the Monsters reboot. Like you said, Stacy, I hope they don't go away from the storyline. They should keep it. Enid, didn't they remake the Addams Family? Yeah.
It just had like 2 or 3 parts
of movies, right?
Yeah.
And they were good, right?
Yeah.
Because they kept to the story. See? And the Brady Bunch, did that one do good in the movies? I'm unsure.
I don't know. I keep up more with the monsters and the Addams Family.
But we did see the Brady Bunch movie, and that did stick to the storyline.
I guess so.
Yeah, because they were singing and dancing and doing all that nonsense. Yeah. So it's like Stacy says, you know, just as long as they stick to that story.
Well, like I said, let's wait and see.
So in other words, you're trying to say, okay, finish this segment so we could have coffee and beer.
I guess so. Who's having the coffee? Because it's not me.
Okay, I'm having the espresso. There you go.
Okay.
No beer for me.
Me neither.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode for DecayMag Podcast, Season 5, Episode 5. My name is Ken Artuz, founder and editor for DecayMag.com. Once again, that is DecayMag.com. And joining me for this podcast were co-hosts
Enid Artuz, content contributor for DecayMag.com. And don't forget to listen to our podcast on Google Music.
Stacy Cox, staff correspondent for DecayMag. We're on Stitcher. Be sure to rate and review DecayMag Stitcher rating and reviews and help us rank.
And of course, we are on iTunes podcast and across social networking platforms, Google Plus, if you're on Google Plus, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All you have to do is type in DecayMag and you'll find us there. But be sure to visit our website where we have a lot of content, articles, reviews, trailer first impressions, and do support us in every way possible by visiting us on the website and downloading, sharing, listening to our podcast.
You won't regret it.
No, just like in this episode, we talk about STDs and
STDs and quack fly.
Oh wow.
Stay safe, everyone.
Safe sex.
Safe sex.
Burn.
Oh my God. James Wan is going to kill us when he hears this podcast. The STD man. Oh man. Thank you for tuning in.